Okay, today we will be doing trach cares. I have assessed the physician's order for the need for trach cares, as well as assessed my patient for the need for trach cares, including like the last time it was done, etc. I would set up my supplies here. I have all of my supplies. I have some gloves, sterile gloves here. I don't know if you can see, but sterile gloves there. Sterile drape, trach kit, sterile saline, hydrogen peroxide, a new trach collar thing. And I think I said hand sanitizer and gloves. So, yes, I would perform hand hygiene. And we would set up our sterile field. Okay, so we have to make sure that we have enough room here for everything. So I'm just going to move that's a wonderful noise. Okay. So we are going to open up our sterile drape away from us. Being very careful to maintain sterility of our drape. Okay, we will look for a corner. Okay. I'm going to grab a corner and lift straight up. Maintaining our 1-inch border, I would lift, making sure that we stay within our border. Holding that still, I'm going to get rid of that. And very carefully place that so we made a sterile field and not reaching over or anything like that. So now we're going to open up our trach care kit, and we are going to open that away from us as well. Opening it all the way so that we don't worry about the flap. And then we are going to dump it directly in the middle of our sterile field. So then, maintaining sterility of this box, the inner portion of the box, we are going to very carefully place next to our patient. So now we are going to pour our solution. So it's going to be a 50-50 mixture of hydrogen peroxide and sterile saline. So we are going to palm the label and palm. And if this was not a new bottle, we would lip it, but this is a new bottle, so. And we are going to very sterilely pour this into our big portion of the bin. Making sure to eyeball how much we need is how much, or eyeballing it so it's a 50-50 mixture. Again, label to palm, lip it if we need to, but this is a new bottle so we don't. And making a 50-50 solution. Okay, then we are going to pour into our little portion there so that we can rinse. And very carefully we are going to, keeping in mind everything needs to stay sterile, so we're not going to turn our back. We are just going to be very careful and move over here and perform hand hygiene, keeping an eye on our sterile field. We are not turning our back. We are not looking away. We just moved to get our gloves on. Let me make sure I don't put it on my pinky again. Okay, now we are going to take our inner cannula, is that the right word? Out of our patient. So we are going to turn it and go down and remove very carefully, only holding the white portion. We are going to very carefully drop that into our solution here. Okay. And we are going to take off the old dressing here very carefully, holding our faceplate, making sure this doesn't tug or bother our patient at all. Okay, then we throw that away. Now, we are going to remove our dirty gloves and do hand hygiene and put on our sterile gloves. So, hand hygiene, keeping an eye on our sterile field here. We are going to very carefully don our sterile gloves, making sure that we do not touch them and contaminate any part of this process. So, grab our sterile glove, because our other sterile gloves in the kit are at the bottom of our kit, so we can't safely get them. These gloves don't really like me. Does not want to go in. Good. Now, thumb to the ceiling. Very carefully inch our fingers in there and don our second sterile glove. Okay, as you can see, I have 2 fingers in one hole here. So we can now fix our glove since we are sterile, and we can fix that. It's a little wonky here. There we go. Okay. Now I'm just going to very carefully move our sterile paper over so that I don't touch anything to that. Now we are sterile, so we can begin. And look at what we have here. So I see that we have our 4x4 gauze, 4 of them. Well, it said that there was 4, so there's 4. Our fenestrated drape here. That's going to be at the end. Making sure we stay within our borders here. We can use this to drape our patient if need be, or we could use a chuck to maintain the integrity of their clothing. Okay. I'm gonna move these. I'm very, I'm making sure to organize my stuff in the way that it would need to be. And we could use these ties, so I'm just going to set them there, but we have our trach Velcro ties over there. So I'm going to set this on top of our sterile gloves and suction because we are not going to need that, and I would like to have it front and center. So now we can begin to clean off the inner cannula, and yeah, okay. So we are going to grab, very careful to not touch anything beside that white piece. Yeah. So grab. Okay. So now we can begin by taking our bottle brush here and dipping that in our solution. We are going to go inside. That is a tight fit. Making sure we do not touch that inner cannula at all. Very tight fit. We can go in and out as this permits. It's not really wanting to go in there. Oh, there we go. Okay, making sure that it is nice and good. We're going to brush this off, dipping if we need. Okay, good. Making sure that that is all nice and clean. Okay. Now we can also take one of our squares of gauze and dip that in our solution and go down like so to scrub, making sure our hands stay above our waist level. Good. Okay. Now we are going to making sure we do not touch that inner cannula. We are going to dip our device into the saline to rinse out our inner cannula. Make sure that it is nice and good. Good. Okay. Now that that is clean, we are going to begin to dry off this piece. Okay, so we're going to take a 4x4 piece of gauze. It wants to take all of them. Okay. Grab that and go right down without touching our inner cannula. Okay, now we are going to take our pipe cleaners together and very carefully insert them to dry out the inside so that we don't introduce fluid into the trachea, because that would be no fun for anybody. They could aspirate and whatnot. Okay, now that is clean, and dry. So we are going to very carefully insert this back into the tracheostomy. So it wants to turn. Okay, at 9 o'clock, we are going to insert, making sure not to put our face in front of that. And then we want to turn and lock that and make sure it clicks and locks into place. So now that that is over and inside, we can then begin to clean the faceplate. So we will grab our swab here and dip into our solution, maintaining sterility. We are going to scrub that faceplate, making sure we do not touch the patient with our sterile hands. That is looking very clean and spiffy. Good. Throw that in the trash, and we will use another swab for under, maintaining sterility again. We would hold on to the faceplate as we are cleaning under, just to make sure it doesn't get dislodged or uncomfortable for our patient, making sure we just clean under there, making sure it gets all the crevices, and discard of that. Good. So now we are going to dry off our faceplate, making sure that it is nice and comfortable for our patient, being very careful and mindful of how we do this. And then we will roll up this one, my face itches, and we will go under the faceplate. Again, just being very careful and mindful of moving that around. We don't want to irritate our patient or anything like that. And we are drying to make sure the integrity of the skin stays good. We're just going to keep that nice. I'm trying to get that under there. It's a very tight fit. I'm holding on so that it doesn't dislodge. Okay, at this point, if my gloves were soiled, dirty, wet, I could change my gloves and put on a fresh set of gloves since the sterile part is over. Yeah, so I'm going to ask my assistant to come hold the faceplate for me.
Hand hygiene.
Hand hygiene, good. And then we are going to change out our trach collar here. Thank you. Okay. So, making sure that my assistant keeps her hand on this at all times. We're going to very carefully take this off of our patient. Let me set this right here. Okay. Very carefully pull this out, making sure that it stays good. Throw that away. If I was using the ties, I would have put them on prior and then remove the old collar. But since I have an assistant, I will not do that. Okay, making sure that it's nice and snug. We are going to secure that to our patient. And before she lets go, I'm going to make sure that it is snug with a 1-finger check. And it is snug and good, so she may let go at this point. And if we tried to use the fenestrated drape before applying the trach collar, but it kept snagging, so we are going to do it after. So we are going to, again, very carefully place the fenestrated dressing. Making sure that there is no wrinkles or anything like that. We want to make sure that it is nice and comfortable for our patient. There's no folds, no wrinkles. And then we would throw away our mess and take our gloves off, perform hand hygiene, and we would document their tolerance to the procedure. We would document the date, time, and assess our patient, clean them up, get them all good. Yeah, that's it.